Since we have a quiz next class, excuse me, I'd like to do a short review with you. On this assessment, we're going to see how well you can calculate slope when given 2 points. And then we're going to classify those slopes as positive, negative, zero, or undefined. We start with the slope formula, which is given here. You can easily label your points as your x1, y1, and your x2, y2. First point, second point, that's all that represents. So we take our y2, negative 5, minus a negative 3, and that's over 8 minus 4. Let's go ahead and simplify. Remember to add the opposite. It gives me negative 2 over 4. So m is equal to a negative 1/2. We always want to simplify. This, excuse me, this is a negative slope. How do we know? Well, the sign is negative for one thing. All right, right here, and we know that it's going to go in this direction. It's going to fall from left to right. Second problem, 7 minus 7 over negative 3 minus 5. When we're doing the calculation, remember that we add the opposite. So that's going to be 0 over negative 8. So my slope is 0. So you either put m is equal to 0 or you write the word 0. And again, a slope that's 0 is a horizontal line. Third problem, m is equal to 8 minus negative 3 over 4 minus 4. Simplify, add the opposite. I have 11 over 0, and we know that the slope is undefined. You need to write 0 or undefined, so I know that you know the difference. And this would be a vertical line. And we could also do one with a positive slope as well. I didn't put one here, but let's add one to the mix. Let's put in 2 points. And let's do the calculation here. 20 minus 12 over 8 minus 4. I'm going to get 8 over 4. So my ratio is a 2-to-1 ratio, so m is equal to 2. 2 is positive. It's going to go uphill. And it's a positive slope. Why? Because the number is positive. Here are some statements that you've seen more than once already in these last few sessions. The slope of a horizontal line, again, horizontal going like this, horizontal line is 0. You need to know these things. The slope of the vertical line is undefined. The slope of the line that rises from left to right, rising from left to right, is positive. Now, if I'm highlighting this, that tells you it's important. It's going to be on the assessment. The slope that falls from left to right has a negative slope. Two lines are parallel if and only if they have the same slope. Same slope, equal slopes, however you want to write that, telling me that the slopes are the same. Two lines are perpendicular if and only if the slopes are negative reciprocals. All of these important statements that you should know. You've seen them in homeworks, you've seen them in classwork, you have seen them on our review. Now, actually, before we get to this next part, let's just talk again about identifying negative reciprocals. If I were to give you something like 3/4, you would change the sign and flip. If I gave you a -6, you would change the sign to positive and flip. If you had something like a -5/4, it would become a +4/5. That's just the negative reciprocal. And if you had, let's just say 1/3, the negative reciprocal of that would be -3. So when we look at an equation, we should be able to identify the slope. For example, if I give you two lines that are I want to know if they are parallel, perpendicular, or neither. I would ask you first to identify your slope. So in line 1, the slope is the number in front of, the coefficient in front of the variable x. In this case, it's -4. And the slope, the m, or slope, because remember we're looking at y is equal to mx plus b. And we know that the variable m represents slope. All things that I could possibly ask on an assessment. And the slope of line 2 is 1/4. So then you stop and you ask yourself, are these slopes the same? No, so they're not parallel. But they are opposite in sign and flip, so these are perpendicular lines. On to our second set of equations. Y is equal to 2x minus 8, and y is equal to -2x plus 3. Slope of line 1 is 2. Slope of line 2 is -2. They're not the same. They are not opposite or negative reciprocals. These are neither. No relationship at all. Third set of equations. Y is equal to 3x minus 1. Slope of that line is 3. I look at my second line and I realize it's not in slope-intercept form yet. It's not isolated. So I need to divide everything by 2. And I see that the equation will be y is equal to 3x plus 3. I see that the slope is 3. Same slope. What does that tell you if they have the same slope? That they are parallel. Again, as you're doing these types of problems, there'll be times like in this last set that you need to first rewrite in order to identify the slope. What do I mean when I refer to that? Let's just see a couple other problems. If you have something in standard form, 5x plus y equals -2. My goal is to get y by itself so I can identify my slope. I will be subtracting 5x on both sides. And I get y is equal to -5x minus 2. Now I can identify my slope as -5. If you were to have a -3x plus 2y equals 6, you would first add 3x to both sides. That leaves you with 2y is equal to 3x plus 6. Still haven't isolated y. Let's divide all three terms by 2. Y is equal to 3/2 x plus 3. Slope of this line, m is equal to 3/2. So there'll be times when you have to rewrite your equation before you can compare the slopes or even just identify the slopes. And once again, you may be given two sets of points. You may have something like -4, 6, and 2, 8. And then you might have, so that might be one set of points for line 1. Line 2 might have passed through these 2 points. It might be and let's see if these 2 lines have any relationship. Are they parallel, perpendicular, or neither? Well, we have to go through the whole process here. We have to first calculate slope. This will give me 2 over -6, which is a -1/3. In my second line, I have 10 minus 8 and 6 minus 4, which gives me 2 over 2, which is equal to 1. Is there a relationship here? No, it's neither. So again, we go from some that are obvious because they're already spelled out for us. Others we do a little work, and some even a little more. And there you have all the things that you need to review for our next assessment.